The storm raged across the surface of Vega Fur, its icy winds cutting through the night like knives. Ethan Hale, a young human engineer, was supposed to be safe inside the outpost walls. But duty had called. One of the power relays had failed during the storm, and he was the only one close enough to fix it. Wrapped in his heavy suit, he trudged through the snow and lightning, cursing softly at the flickering lights above him. He had worked on alien worlds before, but Vega 4 was different. The planet was harsh, cold, and haunted by old memories of war. 10 years ago, humans had fought the native species, the Xylan, and almost wiped them out. Now the survivors were said to live like ghosts, hiding deep in the frozen forests. Most soldiers claimed the Xylan were savages, wild and heartless. Ethan wasn't so sure. He had seen enough death to know that war turned everyone into monsters. As he reached the damaged relay, he noticed something strange, a faint trail of glowing liquid on the snow. It shimmered blue under his flashlight, twisting like threads of light. Curiosity got the better of him. He followed the trail, his breath fogging inside the helmet. Then he saw her. A figure lay collapsed near the rocks, a woman, or something that looked like one. Her skin glowed faintly silver, her long hair tangled with frost. She wore torn armor, unlike anything he had ever seen. One of her shoulders was bleeding badly, leaking the same blue light. When she turned her head, her eyes met his. They were bright, deep, and full of pain. For a moment, Ethan froze. His training screamed at him to report the sighting. The Xylan were classified as hostile. Any contact was forbidden, but she looked so weak, so frightened, so human in her suffering. Against every order, he stepped closer. "Hey," he said softly, lowering his weapon. "Can you hear me?" Her lips moved. The sound that came out was soft, broken, but desperate. "Please." The word hit him hard. He couldn't walk away after that. He knelt beside her and tried to stop the bleeding, wrapping his scarf around her arm. Her skin was cold, yet there was warmth in her trembling fingers when they touched his. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe now." But he was wrong. The moment his touch tightened the cloth, she suddenly grabbed his wrist. Her eyes widened, bright, wild, and glowing like stars. Before he could react, she leaned forward and bit into his forearm. The pain was blinding. Ethan screamed, falling back as energy surged through his body. It was like being struck by lightning, his heart racing, vision spinning. He tried to pull away, but she held him with surprising strength. Her mouth left glowing marks on his skin, and his whole arm burned with light. Then she stopped. Her expression softened. She pressed her forehead against his arm, whispering something in her alien language. Her voice trembled like a broken song. Ethan gasped for air. What did you do to me?" She looked up, eyes wet with tears. Her voice was weak, her accent strange, but the words were clear. "Now, you are mine." He didn't understand what she meant, but the world was already fading. His vision blurred, and he collapsed into the snow. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was her glowing eyes watching him. Sad, scared, and full of something he couldn't name. When Ethan woke again, everything was quiet. The storm had passed. He was lying inside the old comm shelter, wrapped in a blanket. His arm throbbed with dull pain. The bite mark was still there, glowing faintly under his skin like molten light trapped inside his veins. Then he saw her sitting near the corner, watching him. Her wound was healed. Her eyes met his, and for a strange moment he felt something shift inside his mind, like a whisper, soft and familiar. "Ethan," a voice said, not from her lips but inside his head. "You live?" "Because of me." He stared at her, heart pounding. "Who are you?" Her silver skin shimmered as she spoke aloud. "My name is Lyra. I am Xylan. You are my bond now." Ethan didn't know what that meant. But one thing was certain. His life would never be the same again. Outside, the storm clouds began to clear, and two different hearts, human and alien, started beating to the same rhythm. Ethan woke up the next morning with sunlight streaming through the broken panels of the old comms shelter. His body felt weak, his arm aching where the bite still glowed faintly. The wound didn't look infected, but it pulsed with a strange rhythm, matching his heartbeat. Across from him, the alien girl, Lyra, sat quietly, her silver skin catching the light. She looked calm now, almost peaceful, but her glowing blue eyes never left him. When he tried to move, a wave of dizziness hit him. His head throbbed, and he felt connected to something, or someone. Then he heard her voice again, not through his ears but in his mind. "Don't move too fast," she whispered gently. "Your body is still changing." He flinched and stared at her. "You're in my head?" Lyra tilted her head slightly, her expression soft but unreadable. "It is the bond," she said. "When I bit you, our lives joined. You live because I shared my life with you." Ethan blinked in disbelief. "Shared your life? What does that even mean?" She looked down at her hands, her voice trembling. "My people, the Xylan, we bond to survive. When one of us is dying, we can give a part of our energy to another. It heals, protects, and connects us, but it is never done with outsiders." He stared at her, his heart sinking. "Then why me?" Lyra looked at him, and for the first time he saw fear in her eyes. "Because I didn't want to die alone." Silence filled the small room. The wind outside had quieted, and only the faint hum of the damaged comms tower could be heard. Ethan sat there, feeling the weight of her words. She hadn't bitten him to attack, she had done it out of desperation. To live. To hold on. When he looked down at his arm again, the glow had spread faintly across his veins. He could feel energy moving through him, cold but alive. It felt like her heartbeat echoing inside his chest. "Will it stop?" he asked quietly. Lyra shook her head. "No, the bond is forever. If I die, you die. If you die, I die." Ethan's mouth went dry. "That's not possible. Humans don't work like that." Lyra gave a faint, sad smile. "You are not fully human now." The words sent a chill through him. He wanted to deny it, to believe that this was just some strange infection or illusion, but deep inside he could feel her presence, like a soft pulse at the back of his mind, always there, always watching. Hours passed as they sat in uneasy silence. Lyra moved slowly, her wounds nearly gone, but her eyes looked tired. She explained more about her people, how the Xylan had once been peaceful travelers before humans came to Vega 4. The war had destroyed their homes, and the survivors had been hunted like animals. "My people fear humans," she said softly. "They say you take everything. Land, sky, even hope." Ethan listened, guilt washing over him. He had never fought in that war, but he had repaired ships that carried weapons. He wondered how many lives those machines had taken. "I'm not like them," he whispered. "I just fix things." Lyra looked at him with gentle eyes. "Maybe that is why you were chosen." As night fell, the temperature dropped again. Ethan shivered and Lyra moved closer, her body giving off faint warmth. For a moment, their hands touched. The glow under his skin pulsed brighter. He felt her emotions, fear, sadness, but also something else. Trust. He didn't understand how it worked, but her feelings brushed against his own like waves. When she trembled, he felt her pain. When she smiled, he felt her warmth. "Can you hear my thoughts too?" he asked quietly. She shook her head. "Not thoughts. Only feelings. The bond connects hearts, not minds." Ethan nodded slowly. It was strange but comforting. He was no longer alone. That night, as they rested side by side under the broken roof, Ethan couldn't sleep. His arms still glowed faintly, casting small lights across the walls. Lyra slept soundly, her face peaceful for the first time. Watching her, he felt something stir inside him, something human yet deeper. He realized that despite the danger, despite the fear, he didn't regret saving her. Maybe the universe had a strange way of bringing two broken souls together. When he finally closed his eyes, her whisper came softly through the bond. "Thank you for not letting me die." And for the first time since the war, Ethan smiled. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, fear, danger, or death, but he knew one thing for sure. Whatever this bond was, it had already changed them both forever. Days passed in silence. Ethan and Lyra stayed hidden inside the old comms shelter, surviving on emergency rations and melted snow. The storm outside had ended, but a different storm was growing between them, one inside their hearts and blood. Ethan could feel the changes now. His body was not the same. His eyes could see in the dark clearer than before. His hearing was sharper. Sometimes he could sense danger before it came. The strangest thing was the bond. It wasn't just a voice in his mind anymore. It was emotion, warmth, fear, and comfort all at once. When Lyra was calm, he felt peace. When she was afraid, his pulse raced. It was like their souls had become one. He tried to hide his worry from her, but she could always tell. "You're changing," she said softly one morning. The bond is growing stronger. Ethan sighed. And what happens when it's complete? Lyra looked away, her expression full of sorrow. Then you will never be able to live without me. Her words hit him hard. The thought that his life now depended on her felt both beautiful and terrifying. That night he couldn't sleep. He sat near the broken door, staring at the stars. He had once dreamed of exploring the universe, of building machines that could reach new worlds. But now all he could think about was survival, and the alien girl sleeping quietly behind him. He whispered, "What have we done?" Lyra stirred, opening her glowing blue eyes. Something no one will understand. The next morning, Ethan decided to test his strength. He stepped outside the shelter and picked up a heavy metal crate that would have taken 2 men to lift. To his shock, it felt almost weightless. His hands trembled as he set it down. His heartbeat slowed, steady and powerful. "Lyra," he called. She came out quickly, worry flashing across her face. "Look at this," he said, lifting the crate again. "I couldn't do this before." She watched him silently, then spoke in a low, serious voice. "That is the power of the bond. It is not only life, it is strength. Our bodies are linked. My energy flows through you," Ethan frowned. "But doesn't that mean you're getting weaker?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, I can only give. You can only take. Unless the bond is balanced. Then tell me how to fix it," he said, desperate. "I don't want to drain you." Lyra smiled sadly. "You can't fix it. The bond will balance itself when our hearts understand each other fully." He didn't know what that meant, but he saw the honesty in her eyes. It wasn't just a physical link anymore. It was something deeper, something alive. Later that day, Ethan managed to repair part of the old comms terminal. Static filled the air as he tried to send a signal back to the outpost. Lyra watched him from the corner, nervous. "You are calling your people?" she asked. "I just need to tell them I'm alive," he said. "They probably think I'm dead." Lyra's voice turned cold. "If they find you, they will kill me. They will not care that I saved you." He paused, his hand hovering over the transmitter. She was right. Humans feared anything alien. The moment they saw her, they would shoot first and ask questions later. Slowly, he turned off the transmitter. "Then they won't find us." Lyra looked at him, surprised. "You would give up your home for me?" He nodded. "Maybe home isn't where you were born. Maybe it's who you protect." Her eyes softened, and for a moment she smiled. A real, gentle smile. That evening, something strange happened. Ethan was fixing his glove when he suddenly felt a wave of sadness. It wasn't his own. He looked up and saw Lyra standing outside in the snow, staring at the stars. He walked to her quietly. "You're thinking about your people, aren't you?" She nodded slowly. "They are gone. My tribe was hunted after the war. I am the last of my bloodline." Ethan's chest ached with sympathy. "I'm sorry," he said softly. She looked at him with tearful eyes. "Do not be sorry, human. Just remember me, even when your world forgets mine." He reached out and took her hand gently. The bond pulsed with warmth, and he felt her sorrow fade just a little. "I won't forget," he said firmly. "You're not alone anymore." For a moment, time stopped. The cold winds softened, the stars shimmered above them, and 2 souls from different worlds stood side by side, bound by something stronger than war or fear. But deep inside, Ethan knew peace would not last forever. The humans would come searching soon, and when they found him, they would discover what he had become. A human no longer pure, an alien no longer alone, and together something the galaxy was not ready to face. Snow fell quietly across the ruins, covering everything in a cold, white silence. For a while, Ethan and Lyra lived in peace, far from both humans and Xylan. They made a small home inside an abandoned shelter, fixing broken panels and gathering supplies from wrecked ships nearby. It wasn't easy, but they had each other. Ethan hunted small animals, and Lyra used her strange energy to purify water and keep them warm. Sometimes at night they sat beside the fire and talked about the stars. Lyra told him stories of her world, of golden skies, crystal rivers, and cities that sang. Ethan told her about Earth, about rain that smelled like life, and oceans that seemed endless. In those quiet moments, they forgot they were enemies. They forgot the war, but peace never lasted long. One morning, while Ethan was checking the power cells, he heard a distant humming sound. It was faint at first, then grew louder. He froze, listening carefully. It wasn't the wind. It was mechanical. "A drone, Lyra," he whispered. "They found us." Lyra ran outside, her eyes glowing brighter in fear. She could feel it too, the signal, the metal heartbeat in the sky. The humans had finally tracked them. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed their small pack and began destroying everything that could lead back to them. He smashed the comms device and scattered their trail through the snow, but it was too late. A bright red beam swept across the trees, scanning the area. Then another drone appeared, its metal wings slicing the air. Lyra's hand tightened around his wrist. "They are coming," she said. "They will not stop." Ethan's heart pounded. He looked at her, seeing fear in her eyes. The same fear that had been there the day they met. "Then we run," he said, and they did. The forest was a maze of frozen trees and fallen ruins. They ran through it, their breaths forming clouds in the icy air. The drones followed, their sensors locking onto the faint energy signature of the bond. Every time one got too close, Lyra used her energy to create a burst of light, blinding the machines just long enough for Ethan to shoot them down. He was faster now, stronger than before. His body moved with alien grace, his senses alert to every sound. The bond had made him more than human, and yet he feared what that meant. When they finally reached a deep cave hidden behind a waterfall of ice, they stopped to rest. Lyra collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. The glow around her body dimmed, flickering weakly. "You use too much energy," Ethan said, kneeling beside her. "You're burning yourself out." She shook her head, her voice weak but calm. "I had to protect you. If they catch you, they will kill us both." He touched her face gently. "We can't keep running like this, Lyra. They'll never stop." She looked at him, her eyes tired yet filled with something deep, something close to love. "Then we make them stop." For the next few days they planned. Ethan repaired an old generator they found in the cave, turning it into a signal jammer. Lyra helped him amplify its range with her energy. If they could block the human tracking systems, they could buy more time. While they worked, their bond grew stronger. They didn't need words anymore. When Ethan felt fear, Lyra comforted him through the connection. When she felt weak, he gave her his strength. It was no longer two beings surviving. It was one soul split into two bodies. One night, as the wind howled outside, Lyra rested her head against his shoulder. "Do you ever wish we had never met?" she asked softly. Ethan smiled faintly. "If I said yes, I'd be lying." "Even after all this pain?" He nodded. "Because before you, I was just surviving. Now, I'm living." She closed her eyes and whispered, "Then maybe this bond was not a curse after all." But their moment of peace shattered the next morning. A human patrol found the cave. Drones filled the sky, followed by armored soldiers in white suits. Ethan grabbed his weapon, ready to fight, but Lyra stopped him. "No, if you kill them, they will send more. You cannot fight all of them. Then what choice do we have?" He shouted. She stepped forward, her body glowing brighter than ever. "You have me." Before he could stop her, Lyra unleashed her energy. A wave of light shot out, covering the entire valley. The soldiers screamed as their scanners fried, their suits overheating. Ethan shielded his eyes as the light swallowed everything. When it was over, silence returned. The soldiers were gone, retreated, confused, blind. But Lyra collapsed into his arms, trembling. Her glow was fading fast. "Lyra!" Ethan cried, holding her close. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I saved you again. Because that is what my heart chose." Ethan pressed his forehead to hers, feeling her weakening heartbeat. "Don't you dare die on me." Tears fell down his face as he realized the truth. The more she used her power, the more it drained her life. And every moment she weakened, the bond pulled him closer to death too. Outside, snow continued to fall softly. The world seemed quiet again, but inside that cave, two hearts fought to keep beating as one. Ethan knew the hunt wasn't over. The humans would return, and when they did, he would no longer run. He would protect her, no matter the cost. The cave was quiet now. Only the soft hum of the generator and the faint breathing of Lyra filled the space. Her glow had dimmed to a soft blue, barely visible beneath her silver skin. Ethan sat beside her, holding her hand, refusing to let go. He hadn't slept in 2 days. Every time she closed her eyes, fear gripped his heart. The bond pulsed weakly, showing him how fragile her life had become. He could feel her pain, her exhaustion, and her fading strength. "Stay with me, Lyra," he whispered. "Please don't leave me now." Her eyelids fluttered open and she smiled weakly. You always worry too much, human. Because you never stop risking your life, he replied, trying to smile back. You think saving me is your only purpose. Her voice was faint but soft. Maybe it is. Ethan looked away, fighting back tears. No, you deserve to live, not just to save someone like me. Lyra reached out and touched his cheek. Her fingers were cold, yet her touch burned with warmth through the bond. You still don't understand, Ethan. The bond is not just life, it is choice. I chose you. He wanted to answer, but words failed him. That night, while Lyra rested, Ethan worked on repairing a transmitter. He knew it was dangerous, but they needed help. Medical help, supplies, anything. The cave couldn't protect them forever. He sent a small coded message, a distress signal that simply said, human survivor in need, non-hostile. He didn't mention Lyra. He couldn't. Hours later, when Lyra woke up, she felt something through the bond, an uneasiness, a vibration of fear. Ethan, she said, sitting up. What did you do? He turned, guilt flashing across his face. I sent a signal. For help. Her eyes widened in shock. Help from your kind? He nodded slowly. We need medicine, food. They will not help, she interrupted, her voice trembling. They will destroy everything, including me. Ethan stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. Not all humans are like that, Lyra. Maybe they'll listen this time. But even as he spoke, a part of him didn't believe his own words. The next day, the signal was answered. At dawn, the sound of engines echoed through the sky. A human ship landed nearby, its bright lights slicing through the fog. Ethan's heart pounded as he stepped outside, waving his arms. Soldiers in white armor rushed forward, weapons ready. I'm Sergeant Ethan Hale, he shouted. I'm not infected. Step away from the cave, a commander ordered. You're under quarantine. Ethan froze. The soldiers surrounded him quickly, their rifles aimed straight at his chest. One of them scanned him and the device beeped sharply. Sir, his readings are not human. The commander frowned. What's in the cave, Sergeant? Ethan's throat went dry. No one. Just supplies. But before he could say more, Lyra appeared at the entrance. The morning light hit her silver skin, making her glow like a spirit. The soldiers gasped, stepping back in shock. Alien contact, someone shouted. Weapon ready. No, Ethan yelled, running forward. She's not a threat. The soldiers didn't listen. One fired. The bullet hit the ice wall beside her, shattering it. Lyra screamed, falling to her knees as the shockwave echoed through the cave. The bond flared violently inside Ethan's chest. He felt her pain like it was his own. Rage burned through his veins. Without thinking, he threw his hand forward. A burst of light exploded from his palm, knocking the soldiers back like a wave. The air trembled with power. The snow around them melted into steam. When the light faded, silence fell. The soldiers were gone, either unconscious or running. Ethan stood there, his breathing ragged, eyes glowing faintly blue. Lyra looked up at him in disbelief. You used the bond. He stared at his hands, shaking. I didn't mean to. It just happened. She crawled toward him, tears in her eyes. That power was never meant for fighting. It connects, not destroys. Ethan knelt beside her, guilt eating at him. I didn't want to hurt them. I just wanted to protect you. Lyra's voice cracked. And now they will fear you. All of them. For hours, Ethan sat beside her, unable to speak. The weight of what he had done pressed on his heart like a stone. He wasn't just a fugitive now. He was proof that a human could become something alien, something dangerous. Lyra leaned against him weakly, her glow dim but still there. They will come again, she whispered. But this time not to save you, to study you, to destroy you. Ethan tightened his arms around her. Let them come, he said softly. If they want to fear something, then let them fear what love can do. Outside, the snow began to fall again, soft and endless. In the distance, new ships were already approaching, bright lights in the cold morning sky. Ethan looked at Lyra, his voice steady despite the storm in his heart. No matter what happens next, I'm not leaving you. You're my bond, my home. Lyra smiled faintly, tears in her glowing eyes. Then we faced the world together. And in that frozen silence, human and alien held each other. Two lives bound by one heartbeat, standing on the edge of a war that neither had wanted, but both were willing to fight. The world changed in a single morning. By the next day, Every human base on the ice planet had received the same report. Subject Hale, compromised, infected with alien energy. Extremely dangerous. Ethan's name was no longer spoken with respect. He was not a hero or a survivor anymore. He was a warning. A symbol of what humans feared most: change. From the mouth of the cave, Ethan watched the ships hover in the far distance. Their lights blinked like cold stars in the fog, waiting, watching. They didn't attack yet. Not because of mercy, but because they were afraid. Lyra sat behind him, her body wrapped in a silver blanket that shimmered faintly. Her wounds had healed, but her strength was still weak. The bond between them pulsed gently, like a heartbeat in the silence. "They know what you did," she said softly. Ethan nodded. They saw the power. "They'll think I'm a monster now." Lyra stood and placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. "You are not a monster. You are proof that humans can feel something greater than fear." He looked up at her, pain in his eyes. "That's not how they'll see it, Lyra. They'll see an alien weapon hiding inside a human body." That night, the storm returned. Heavy snow and sharp winds howled outside the cave, covering the world in white silence. Inside, Ethan couldn't sleep. He sat beside the fire, staring at his hands, the same hands that had released that blinding energy. He remembered the soldiers flying backward, their armor cracking, their screams lost in the storm. He hadn't wanted to hurt anyone, but the power had acted on its own, as if the bond had responded to his fear, his desperation. Lyra watched him quietly from across the fire. "The bond reacts to emotion," she said gently. "It listens to your heart more than your mind. That is why it can be dangerous." Ethan smiled sadly. "So I'm dangerous now?" "You always were," she teased weakly, then sighed. "But danger is not evil. Fear decides what it becomes." He looked at her, thinking of how much he had changed since the first day he met her, the day she bit him and claimed him. Back then he had been just another human soldier. Now he wasn't sure what he was anymore. By morning, they heard the voices through the ice walls. Faint human broadcasts echoed across the radio waves. "Alien contamination confirmed. Subject Hale is no longer human. Evacuation recommended." Ethan turned the radio off before Lyra could hear more. But she already knew. The bond let her feel the ache in his chest, the way his heart broke with every word. "They will never let you go," she said. "You are too important now." He shook his head. "I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted to survive." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes glowing softly. "And yet you became more than survival. You became a bridge between what?" he asked bitterly. "Between fear and understanding," she whispered. Later that day, a small drone appeared near the cave entrance. It hovered silently, scanning the area, its red eye blinking. Ethan aimed his old rifle, but Lyra stopped him. "Don't," she said firmly. "If you fight them, they'll only send more." He lowered the gun slowly. The drone floated closer, projecting a hologram of a human commander. Ethan recognized him. It was General Reeves, his former superior. "Ethan Hale," the hologram said coldly. "You are ordered to surrender immediately. You are carrying alien energy and are considered a high-level threat." Ethan clenched his fists. "General, listen to me. The bond isn't a weapon, it's something beautiful. It connects us." Reeves didn't react. "The alien creature beside you will be taken for study. If you resist, you will be neutralized." Lyra stepped forward, her glow intensifying. "He is not your enemy," she said firmly. "Neither am I." The hologram flickered, but the voice stayed calm. "You infected one of ours. That makes you all enemies." Then the signal cut out. The drone exploded, a small burst of light vanishing into the snow. Ethan stood in silence, his heart burning with anger and sorrow. "They'll never understand." Lyra touched his hand gently. "Then make them understand. Show them what this bond truly means." He looked at her, confusion and determination mixing inside him. "How?" "By facing them," she said quietly. "By showing them that love can be stronger than fear." That night they made a choice. Ethan packed his gear, what little food and energy cells they had left. Lyra put on a thick human coat, the hood hiding most of her glowing skin. They stepped out into the storm together, leaving the cave behind. The world outside was cold, endless, and hostile, but their hearts were warm, beating in sync through the invisible bond. As they walked toward the distant lights of the human base, Ethan spoke softly. If this is how it ends, I'm glad I met you. Lyra smiled faintly, her voice trembling. It will not end. It will begin, and so, they walked on, two beings from different worlds bound by love and light, heading straight into the heart of fear itself. The storm raged across the frozen plains, howling like a wounded beast. Snow and ice danced in the wind, hiding the world beneath white silence. Through that endless storm, two figures moved, slow, steady, and together, Ethan and Lyra. They walked toward the human base that glowed in the distance like a cluster of false stars. Behind those walls waited fear, soldiers, and guns. But ahead of them, between the snow and the storm, there was also truth, and Ethan was ready to face it. Lyra's glow flickered under her hood, her breath soft clouds in the cold air. They will shoot when they see me, she whispered. I know, Ethan replied, but they'll have to go through me first. She looked at him with gentle eyes. You would stand against your own kind for me? He stopped walking and turned to her, his expression calm but full of love. You stood against your kind for me first. The closer they came, the louder the alarms grew. Bright spotlights cut through the snow, locking onto them. A mechanical voice echoed from the loudspeakers. Identify yourselves or be fired upon. Ethan raised his hands, shouting against the wind. It's me, Ethan Hale. I'm not your enemy. The lights focused tighter, blinding them both. Then came another voice, colder, crueler. You were human once, Hale, not anymore. Lyra gripped his arm, fear trembling in her hands. They will not listen. But Ethan didn't stop walking. He took another step forward. Then another. If they want to know what I've become, he said softly, then they'll have to see it with their own eyes. The first shot rang out. It hit the snow near his feet, spraying white dust into the air. The second shot came closer, grazing his shoulder. Pain shot through him, but he kept moving. Lyra cried out, grabbing his arm. Please stop. You'll die. He turned to her with tears in his eyes. Maybe, but if I run now, they'll never stop being afraid. Someone has to show them that we can stand together. Lyra's lips trembled. Then we do it together. She stepped forward, pulling down her hood. Her silver skin shimmered under the lights, her blue glow spreading through the storm. For a moment, the soldiers hesitated. The sight of her was both beautiful and terrifying, something alien yet heartbreakingly alive. The commander's voice broke through the speakers again. Fire! But before the next volley came, Ethan reached out and took Lyra's hand. The bond exploded. A wave of light burst from them, spreading in every direction like ripples across water. The snow turned to mist, the air shimmered, and every human within sight felt it. Not pain, not heat, but something deeper. Emotion. Connection. They saw flashes of memories that weren't their own. Ethan's pain, Lyra's loneliness, their love, their fear, their sacrifice. It all flowed through the bond, reaching every human heart within range. The soldiers dropped their weapons, gasping. Some fell to their knees. The light made them feel what Ethan felt, that this alien wasn't a monster and that what joined them wasn't infection. It was love. When the light faded, silence ruled the field. The storm had stopped. Only the faint hum of energy hung in the air. Ethan stood with Lyra, both trembling, both exhausted. His eyes glowed faintly blue, her silver light flickered weakly. But they were alive. The commander slowly approached, helmet off, disbelief written across his face. What did you do? Ethan smiled faintly. We shared what it means to be human. Lyra looked at him lovingly. And alien. The commander looked around at the kneeling soldiers, at the quiet snow, at the peace that had somehow replaced fear. He lowered his weapon. Maybe we were wrong. Ethan nodded, relief washing over him. You were afraid, so were we. But fear doesn't have to decide who we are. Days later, news of the event spread across the stars. Humans called it the Light of Union. Some called Ethan a traitor. Others called him a prophet. But those who had seen the light, those who had felt what he shared, could never see the universe the same way again. Ethan and Lyra were taken to a new research center, not as prisoners, but as teachers. They taught others about the bond, how it connected souls, not bodies, how it turned fear into understanding. Every night, when the lights dimmed, Ethan would sit beside Lyra and watch the stars outside their window. The galaxy looked peaceful now, at least for a while. He would reach out, holding her hand gently, feeling the soft pulse of the bond between them. "Do you think they'll ever stop being afraid?" Lyra smiled faintly, her eyes glowing like tiny blue suns. "Maybe not, but even fear can learn to love." He smiled back, leaning his forehead against hers. "Then that's enough." And somewhere beyond the stars, the story of a human and an alien girl, bound by a single bite and a shared heartbeat, became a legend whispered across the galaxy. A story not of war, but of love that made the universe tremble.